So we start by pinching the barb of the hook, installing the bead, securing it in our vise, and then we'll start to lay down the thread base on the hook. We're then going to move our thread back up to the front of the hook. Now to install our tail, same as previously, we start by taking our marabou feather, cleaning up a little bit of the stuff that we don't want, and we're going to take 1.5 inches to 2 inches of fibers from the one side of the plume. Roll them up in our fingers, snip the end. And attach them to the hook. And work our way back to the anchor point. Now we're going to adjust the length of the tail. Again, a hook's length. Now we're going to go in and add flash to our tail again. So we'll start by moving our thread slightly ahead of the anchor point. And we're going to make sure that we have 2 pieces of crystal flash on either side of the midpoint of the tail. And trim our crystal flash to length. So now we're going to start to add the rest of the material to the fly. And this is where it becomes different than the first version that we showed you. We're going to be adding the rest of the material in the opposite order in which it's laid down. So the first material that's on is going to be the last material that gets wrapped. So first, copper wire. We'll insert it at the end of the wire into the bead. Catch the wire. We'll wrap all the way to the front and then come all the way back to the anchor point. Then we're going to add our hackle feather. And remember, there's a shiny side and a dark side. Shiny side is going to be out. And we're going to attach this one by the tip. So we'll stroke back the fibers, exposing a bit of the tip. And we will attach it at the anchor point and wrap up and come back again to our anchor point. The last piece that we need to add is our chenille. Again, we start by exposing about 1/8 or 1/4 inch of the thread. Wind all the way to the front. Then we'll take our chenille. Using touching wraps, we will wrap all the way to the front. Remember to leave yourself a little bit of room because we have to still put the hackle fiber in. We'll take our feather. You can either use your hackle pliers, or if you're comfortable, you can just use your fingers. And again, when you grab it, we're trying to make sure that the shiny side is facing towards the front of the fly. So we make one wrap in the back, and then we're trying to do no more than 4 turns up to the front. And finish off by 1.5 full wraps to the front. And again, we'll catch the feather by a couple of wraps in behind. At least 1 wrap in the front. We can cut off the end of our feather very carefully. And lastly, we'll go in with our wire. Now we want to counter wrap the wire up to the front. We do 1 full wrap in behind, and then we will palmer angle wrap the wire all the way to the front of the fly. And again, wiggling the wire as you go so you don't catch any fibers. Two wraps behind. 1 or 2 wraps in front. Helicopter your wire off. Now we're good to go in and do our 2 whip finishes. And again, I'm going to add head cement in between the whip finishes. And there you go, Wooley Bugger, a second way.